friend, how are you doing today? My name is Karina and welcome back to Ready Set Pan. Today is time for another update for my Use Those Eyeshadows project where I randomize 8 eyeshadow from my collection. I've got them all in a spreadsheet, use it 10 times, roll it out, move on to the next thing, and I have 3 eyeshadows at a time that I am focused on. I have a really exciting update today, and as always, I'll start off with my bonus pan, which is eyeshadows usage that's not in this project. We'll go through my progress on this project. We get to roll in 2 new eyeshadows today. So without further ado, let's dive into everything. All right, we're going to kick it off with my bonus pan, and this is actually going to be a spoiler for my project Level Up. I'm on level 2 because I just started this project recently. So in my project Level Up, I definitely do utilize the use an eyeshadow 20 times instead of a hitting pan goal. But I am pleased to announce that for my Dominique Cosmetics The Moment palette, I have finally hit a pan in here. It's been a very long time coming. I've been working on this palette a lot in different projects, but this is what my palette looks like today. And you can see I've got a very nice juicy pan right here in the shade After Hours. I still have not met my level 2 goal. I have used all the shades at least twice so far, but I still need to hit 20 uses or a pan on a second shade here. And yeah, we'll just kind of see how it goes. But there's a little sneak peek for my project Level Up, which I'm hopefully going to be updating towards the end of this month. So super, super excited about that one. But now let's move into this project. So I actually have, I think for the first time ever, 2 eyeshadows coming from my Beaute Mystic Romance palette. I'll try to show these separately. So the first shade that I was working on was Euphoria. This is my second month having worked on it, and you're seeing where I was on this one last month, which I've used this shade predominantly as an outer corner, and the dip is dipping in this one now. I have reached for it an additional 3 times, bringing me to my 7 uses, and I did pair those 3 uses every time with the other shade in this palette. Covering up the other shade, but Euphoria is in that top corner there, and of course I will have a close-up video so you can see it better. You can see that dip is definitely dipping. Like I said, that is now probably the shade I am the closest to hitting pan on because I found I had to pack it on a fair amount, unfortunately. So that shade is rolling out, and we'll talk about the other shade momentarily. But first, we need to talk about the second shade that I've been working on, and this is the palette I am wearing for today's eye look. Just a very basic eye look here. So these were both new last month. So the first shade was from the Persona Cosmetics. This is the Identity 2 eyeshadow palette, and I had rolled in the shade Independent, where you're seeing how that looked like when I rolled it in. Most of the time, I use the shade as an outer corner shade, and I've paired it a lot with the gold because there isn't a lot of like all over the lid shades in this palette, unfortunately. It's great for colorful pops in the outer corner, but I'm very limited all over the lid. Today I decided to put Independent all over the lid just so we can feature that one a little bit more, get some extra use on it. A black is in the outer corner, but it does make the whole thing look kind of dark. I have reached for it 7 times since rolling it in, which means I still have 3 more uses to meet my goal. But this is what the palette looks like, and this is the shade Independent, also in the top corner there. So we'll get a close-up video. There is a little bit of movement. There is a dip happening. Again, you know I prefer to use my eyeshadows down, so they are dipping at a more like consistent level. This gold has gotten a lot of use because generally for 6 of those looks, this is what I put all over the lid with Independent in the outer corner. Loyal in the crease, Kind to set the eyeshadow. That's my go-to. But yeah, progress on this palette. Because I haven't met my goal on that and it's staying in, here is the swatch of Independent right there. So a dark, smokier, blue-gray kind of color. So really pretty, especially in the outer corner, but I still need a bit more use on it. Okay, the last shade, also new last time, going back into my Mystic Romance palette, it was the shade Temptress, which I have used previously, but I don't love this shade. It's harder for me to work with. It's a beautiful raspberry color, but as an eyeshadow, I struggle with it. So I used it 10 times. I did reach my goal on this one. I used it either as my eyeshadow setting color, which kind of deepened everything up, gave it a bit more of that warmer tone, or I did put it in the crease a couple times as well. not my favorite. So it was a difficult shade, but I did get use on it. Unfortunately, the ways I was using it, and because it's a matte, this is what it looks like today. So my palette as a whole, here's the shade Temptress here. We'll get a close-up on that. But yeah, it doesn't even really look used at all. Maybe, can you even see brush strokes? I'm not even sure you can. But regardless, I have met my goal on both shades from this palette. So this palette is finally rolling out and we get to replace it with 2 new shades today. So very, very exciting stuff. So let's get in the rest of my color story to go with this shade right here. So we're going to go in with my Pretty Random app and let's see the 2 new shades I get to roll in today. All right, so starting from nothing here, the first shade I'm going to roll in 190. And then the second shade I'm going to roll in today is going to be number 115. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. Okay, let's talk about it. I did do some debating. We'll get there when we get there. Let's talk about what I rolled in. So first off was shade number 190. So again, because I'm always decluttering and all that, like these shade names are constantly shifting. So right now that is referring to something in my Ciate London. This is the editor palette. This palette I had recently rolled in for Deck of Panning for the Joker prompt because I wanted to reach for this palette, but I did pick my least favorite shade in it to reach for because the Joker. So it's a palette I worked on somewhat recently, but I am excited to have it back. These are all like unnamed shades in here. Oh my goodness, I just realized what I'm playing with. Okay, these are all unnamed shades, so I've just numbered them. There are 18 shades in here, and I rolled number 17, which is a dark brown, which on one hand is perfect because that means I can play with absolutely anything in this palette. I can go colorful, I can go more neutral for work. So you know what? I am good with this one, and this is a shade I have used, but it really doesn't show much use on it. Yeah, just your classic matte dark brown for the outer corner. Okay. I don't know if it's the best, but that's what that one looks like there. Kind of hard to, maybe a little patchy. Might be a little bit patchy there. But I'm excited. I play with this palette, have some versatility, do basically whatever the heck I want with this. So this is actually going to be a wonderful option to play with. And then that brings us to shade 115, which I did debate a little bit here because shade number 115 comes from the Dominique Cosmetics The Moment palette, which is currently my Project Level Up Level 2. All right, here's what I've decided to do with this. As I mentioned when I showed you that shiny pan in After Hours here, I have met the no pan left behind section of using every shade in here twice. And honestly, where I'm going, I'm trying to get 20 uses on the shade Embrace. I think I'm at 10 uses right now as of the point I'm filming. So Embrace is probably the one I'm going to be doing and focused on. However, I'm still reaching into this palette. I'm getting a lot of use on De Niro and After Hours, Elevated, Essential, as well as Embrace. But the shade I rolled in, number 115, is the shade right in here, Life of the Party. This is such a beautiful shade, especially in the middle of the lid is my favorite place to wear that. So what I've decided to do is because I've already met my goal on Life of the Party and it wasn't going to be one of the ones I was reaching towards. So like I think I'm at like 10 uses Embrace, 9 on Essential. Like it was between these two, but it's probably going to be Embrace. I've decided, you know what, I'm going to take the win. I'm reaching for this palette anyway for level 2. So I'm going to roll in Life of the Party because I've already met my goal for Project Level Up anyway. So you're seeing where this one looks at as of this point, which is after I've met my level 2 component of it for Project Level Up. And I'm going to get an additional 10 uses on this beautiful shade. I'm not upset about it. I do love this palette. That shade is absolutely gorgeous. It's not really fall. Oh, it's such good quality. Look at that. Isn't that just so stunning? I love that shade. It's one that definitely intimidated me, but it's just so beautiful. As much as I would love to reach for another palette, you know what? This is what got randomized, and technically there is no conflict on this one. If I hadn't met my 2 uses on this, then I would have re-rolled, just so I didn't have that direct conflict. But yeah, I'm not going to hit pan on it. No matter what happens, it's not going to count for project level up, level 2, in terms of either a hit pan, if I managed to hit pan, or contributing towards that 20 uses. So at this point, this is now just focused on in this project. And this is my new color story. Oh my goodness, so fun. Let's talk some goals for next month. And honestly, I'm a little, It's hard for me to plan out my goals in advance because obviously I film this not live because it's not in front of you in the same time. But I don't, like, it's not like I'm rolling stuff in advance here. Easy goal. Number 1 is independent. I need only 3 more uses on that one to be able to roll it out. And then I'm debating between these 2 here because I would love it if I'm able to roll out 2 eyeshadows every single month, because that gives this project a little bit more. 1 is the minimum, but I like to go above the minimum. And my first instinct was to gravitate towards shade number 17 from the Ciate London palette. However, because the Life of the Party shade is part of my, like, the rest of the palette's project level up, and I have 10 uses left on Embrace, I mean, that's a perfect pairing right there. So the challenge with the shade is I won't wear that one to work, so that's going to be like a weekend shade for me. So we'll see how it goes, but that might be the one I try to get my 10 uses on, and obviously I do want good uses on shade number 17 to make some good progress to be able to roll it out in 2 months from now. So that's currently what I'm thinking, but this is another exciting Use Those Eyeshadows update. So without further ado, that's where we're going to leave it for today. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. Subscribe so you don't miss the next update for this project or my project level up level 2 update. I'm going to try to hit for level 3 this month, so we'll see how that one goes. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video very soon. Have a wonderful day.